If you've been investing in marijuana stocks, well, you may have made some money, but recently those stocks have taken a turn for the worse. We're going to take out all the fundamentals, not look at the companies themselves, but only look at the charts and see what the charts tell us. And the person who's going to help us with that is Mark Newton. He's the Chief Market Technician over at Greywolf. So Mark, there's a lot of discussion about these companies and whether they have decent balance sheets or not. We're going to take that away. We're just going to look at the charts.
Right.
So the first one up is CannaVest. Now, they are operating at a loss, but let's take a look at the chart and see what it tells us.
Sure. Well, initially, if you look at it, the stock has had a very, very big move in the last few months alone. The stock started in December. It went from, I believe, $16 up to $200 in 3 months' time. So it's had a gigantic move. Since then, it's lost over 60% literally in the last few weeks. So you really have to have an appetite for risk here if you want to own a stock like this, because a lot of them, as you mentioned, don't have any fundamentals. The technicals at this point still look like the stock is basing a little bit. It started to stabilize a little bit. It's dropped a long way in a very short period of time. My thinking is that $50 is a decent level to take a look at this. It's been down for 4 straight weeks. Ideally, you want to see some sign of stabilization after dropping. If the stock can show at least some sign of moving up to multi-day highs, even a new weekly high, that would give a little bit of confidence that it's starting to base after a pretty severe drop.
All right, let's take a look at Advanced Cannabis Solutions. Now, this company is in real estate, so they help cannabis companies find real estate. Looks very similar to the last chart we just saw.
It does. A lot of these look very similar. They started in December, and once the news hit that a lot of them were getting involved in the business, these stocks just took off like a rocket. This one went from actually $3 up north of 64, I believe, before dropping just in the last couple weeks also. And so the key level for this technically is going to be these prior lows initially that it made in March, and that lies just above $30. If investors really want to see the stock move up, the stock needs to get above those prior lows. The thinking being prior support now becomes resistance. If we can take that out, we have a much better chance of moving higher. This stock, very similar to CannaVest though, is in a pretty severe downtrend, and so you need to see some evidence of stabilization before you jump in. So the use of stops, as with everything in this market, is very much encouraged.
Now, GW Pharmaceuticals, they're the one company that has a pharmaceutical version of marijuana. Let's take a look at that one.
Yeah, this is a little bit more of a legitimate company, as you mentioned, and the market cap's over $1 billion. This one has a much better technical trend than the other two we first looked at. The stock went initially from $10 up to $85. Recently, it's dropped down to the mid-60s. What's interesting is that if you look at the 50-day moving average, it's still upward sloping, moving higher. It did actually catch the lows last time, and so given that the stock has dropped and is not overbought anymore just in the last few weeks and still maintains a fairly decent uptrend, my thinking is this is the better right now of the three to take a look at, to really consider putting money to work if you wish to do so.
All right, and the last one, Fusion Pharmaceuticals, they make pod containers.
Right.
Let's take a look at that one quickly.
Yeah, after 6 straight down weeks, this stock is getting down to levels that should be important. I'm looking at 450 to 475. Initially, those levels were hit, I believe, down near February lows. So that's the first real level of support. Oftentimes people ask me, what's the best way to get a feel for a stock is going to hit support when it's really in a big downtrend? Oftentimes, if you take the range of absolute low to high, 50% levels, even Fibonacci levels, even though they seem esoteric, are very important oftentimes for creating some type of support. But the key is going to be stabilization, stopping from moving down as quickly. You want to see the stock start to base a little, start to make new daily, weekly highs. That'll be your evidence that it might be a good time to get on board.
All right, there you go. If you are in these stocks or looking to get into these stocks, take a look at these levels. That's Mark Newton from Greywolf, and I'm Deborah Borchardt with TheStreet.